This ain't no halo over my head, bitch. But dear God, can you forgive the sinner for everything I done did since my beginning? Because the devil around me so much that you would think I got a death wish. Yeah, and the voices in my head get louder, watching my career disappear like powder. Wish I could rewind those hours and get my life back. Strike that, clinging to this weed like a life jack.
What's up, everybody? It's John and Dillon back for Cause and Effect. Week 2, even though we're a couple weeks late. Yeah. How's everybody been? How you been?
I've been great.
Yeah.
No, I'm not great. Yeah, work's really bad. We have a sub guy in right now.
Ooh.
He's taking the position for a kid that's out of town.
Subs.
Yeah.
Where does he work normally?
He's not like the owner, but like one of the top manager's sons. So he does like filling jobs just for a job for summer.
Oh, yeah, we had a couple of those.
Yep. Not good.
Because he gets away with all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
Well,
He can sit and just do nothing, and they don't even say anything to him. They're like, oh!
Yeah, that's normal.
Don't do anything. Works.
Well, everybody, this week on Cause and Effect, we got a couple of different topics. Couple different topics. Still gonna be a little bit more of a serious topic this week, but we'll go into that. We're gonna end with the serious stuff later. We're gonna start off with, and actually, we didn't even discuss this. We're gonna talk about a couple different things. We're gonna talk about Halo Master Chief Edition. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about it since Mastered 1, 2, 3, 4 being brought out on Xbox One. Same game, same physics and everything gonna be brought in. We're gonna talk about. We're gonna briefly just kind of acknowledge that yesterday, the 19th of June, was the 15th birthday of Counterstrike. Counterstrike's been long and going for 15 years, and
Counterstrike going.
That's the longest longest the game's ever been. I think how would
consecutively releasing games.
Yeah, and the funny thing is what they only have 3 or 4. CS 1.6.
They have 1.5, 1.6, source, condition 0, go.
Yeah, that's it.
So I think it's 5.
So it's we'll just we'll briefly have a moment for them. We're gonna talk about our thoughts on how in competitive gaming right now, teams are, and I don't want to I'm trying not to give too much questions. Competitive gaming teams are bringing people from other countries to play for the team. About that, US player from China to etc. So we'll talk about that, and finally, we're going to talk about kind of our thoughts. This is a winged subject, but just actually, Dillon, you kind of explained. You were the one that came up with the topic. We were going to talk about it.
Just in general, basically. And it's because of gaming in general. I enjoy playing games a lot, and had I had a disability, whether it be being blind, deaf, any motion sort, or even just brain functions, I wouldn't be able to enjoy gaming the way I do now. And that's why I think, when I was saying earlier that we just take so many things for granted as Americans in general, and other countries I'm sure do too, but I think the U.S. and just North America is very stubborn and very, very all about ourselves, and we just don't take into account other people and other things like that. So I just kind of want to talk about a little bit of just how, having any sort of, disability or disorder or anything, it's just overlooked, and how, maybe, we'll talk about a little bit later that we're looking to do possibly a tournament or something to get donations to put towards just Americans with disabilities. I think you said you were looking to do either the tournament or the what was it, Save a Life or whatever it was?
Extra life.
Extra Life, yeah.
Well, yeah.
So we'll talk about that a little later, but
yeah, and I'll mention this once again towards the end of the podcast. Is like he just said, we're gonna try to set up a tournament to where we can have players pay to enter, and we're gonna enter that money, or we're gonna submit that money to or part of that proceeds. We'll figure it out. I'm sure players are gonna kind of get a little bit disappointed if they don't get anything out of the tournament, but we're gonna give all the proceeds. Nothing. We're not gonna take anything for ourselves. We're gonna give it all to some sort of charity, disabilities or something like that. And then also Extra Life, if anybody's heard of it, well, like I said, I'll reiterate this at the end, is a gamers charity that they give to children's hospitals, and we're gonna we've already planned to do that in October. That's just some. But let's start it off.
sure.
Let's start off with I guess let's go on to the quickest topic. Counterstrike. 15 years.
Yes, man. Yeah, you know what? And it's awesome because I just remember playing the game, and I still get similar enjoyment, but now that I'm more mature, I have more respect for the whole game getting as far as it has, coming from 1.5, 1.6, and progressing into what it is today. I mean, I think I saw a photo. I don't know if you linked it, or maybe Kevin or somebody had linked me a photo of basically 1.5, 1.6 images, and each, next generation that they released, and it was crazy to see how much the graphics improved. And it's awesome because they kept the same game, but they fixed a little bit here and there. And at the same time, you're like, well, why didn't they just continue to, develop more onto, let's say 1.6? Why didn't they just continue to increase graphics and just come up with, updates instead of just releasing a whole new game? Because realistically, it's the same game, same maps, same guns, everything's the same concept, but it's just overall a new quote unquote game. But it's still an awesome game. Props to them for staying in business as long as they have, and having a ton of players. I think that's probably one of the most stable games I've seen in a long time, where they still have and continue to grow and maybe shrink a little bit here and there, but they're always going to have players. They're always going to, have a hefty number of players, and I don't think it's really ever going to die out unless there's something that comes out that's like Counter-Strike. But other first-person shooters don't give the same things that Counter-Strike does. So.
Yeah, and I was watching an article or a video on IGN today, and this is kind of where I came up with wanting to talk about this, and and it's not like we're stealing a topic from them. Is we both play Counter heavily, but he made a good point that Counter-Strike is probably one of the only remaining shooters that really it really takes skill to play. And he made a good point. He said if you throw Battlefield or Call of Duty players into Counter-Strike, they would just get destroyed because you can't just run and gun. There's so much that goes into the game. The different guns, their spread of, having to crouch or walk or something like that. There's so much that goes into the game, and I think that's why it's still such a popular game, is because of that. It's not like you can't just. I was horrible when I first started playing. You can't just go in and start doing really good like you can in Call of Duty or Battlefield. You're not relying on kill streaks. You're just relying on something. And then the other cool thing is anything can happen. You can have a guy, you can have a whatever gun you would prefer. I mean, people will argue whichever gun they think is the best. I mean, if you're a sniper, whatever, M4, whatever. But you could have a guy with a pistol outplay a guy with a high power rifle, which it just shows that anything can happen. You're not you are at some sort of disadvantage, but it's
you aren't guaranteed kills, kind of like in Call of Duty or something, where it's like, oh well, I have a SCAR, you have a pistol. You're probably 99% going to lose if we're on the same skill level. There's really not outplaying. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. But dude, just wait. Counter-Strike whatever 6 that comes out is going to have kill streaks and burns.
No, I hope they never do that. For the love of God, if they ever do that,
yeah, right.
I just won't play it. I'll just play. But going back to what you said, about how they could have just continued to increase improve 1.6. For all we know, maybe they brought Global Offensive onto a new engine. I mean, it plays the same, but I mean, that's an old engine that it's, you know, they made 1.6 and 1.5 a long time ago. Who knows? They could have just been brought into a new engine. But I mean, I'm glad that they didn't really change a lot. I'm glad they didn't, you know, like take Halo for instance. Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3 were generally the same games, or up to ODST. But then Reach came out, and they added Sprint, and then they added the jetpack and all that stuff, and then 4 came out, and they continued to keep that stuff in there. So like they changed the whole model of the game. Like not only Halo 1, 2, 3, you didn't have a sprint. Like so it's like however fast you were walking, that's how fast you were walking. But then they added the sprint, so it's like CS. Who knows? They with the way that all these games were implementing sprint modes, like Call of Duty and then Halo, you could have added it to CS:GO, which is good that they didn't do it. They kept the game to its roots. They didn't add any just stupid stuff. A lot of people don't like the skin system. I think it's really cool because it's fresh and it adds a little bit of.
What I would say on that, and what makes a really good point, is Counterstrike very similarly resembles, not completely, but a lot of the first Modern Warfare. Everybody said the first Modern Warfare was arguably the best Call of Duty that came out. And that's because everybody had the same kill streaks. You had 3, which was the UAV, 5, which was, I believe, the airstrike maybe, and then 7, which would have been the helicopter or whatever. And so at that point, everybody was on the same page. Other than the fact that you had perks, that's what made the game so good, is you didn't have, you know, every 2, you know, it's like if you start with like Hardline, I believe, in Call of Duty, you could start getting, you know, kill streaks at 2 all the way up to like 25 kills in a row. I mean, there's something in between the whole way through, and it's like it put the game in such a mode that it was like, what's coming out of the sky next, and you couldn't really focus on like game or gunfights. You know what I'm saying?
What airplane or what helicopter is coming out of the sky this time?
That's what it is. Like the whole time it's just like enemy this, friendly that, you know, and it's just like, dude, I just want to shoot somebody else in the face, and I want somebody else to shoot me in the face. Like I just want to gun battle with other people. And you don't get that in these Call of Duty games anymore. And that's why Counter-Strike is so refreshing, because it's like it's gun on gun action the whole way through. You don't have kill streaks, you don't have perks. It's literally, if somebody else owns a deagle and you have a deagle, it's 1v1 with deagles. Whether you can buy armor, but you have everything that every other player has accessible to you at all times in the game. You know, nobody else can run, you know, a perk that, you know, it's like, oh, well, maybe I didn't unlock it, or maybe I'm not running that, and, you know, whatever. It's like all of a sudden, you know, I'm running the wrong things and I don't have a class set up for this. It's like, no, everybody has exactly what you get available. It's how good you are at the game that's going to determine the outcome. And that's why I think Counter-Strike is such a good game. And that's why, I mean, yes, granted, the shooting mechanics and the mechanics of the game make it a lot better. But as a whole, I think it's because it puts everybody on a level playing field. And that's what's impossible about so many games out there, is balancing. And that's what they did, is that they balanced the game well enough to having Team A versus Team B, and everything is available to both. You know, Granted, okay, the AK versus the M4, whatever, but at some point you get that, you know, and I think that's just why it's so balanced. But congrats to them for having a kick-ass game, man.
Yeah, there's always going to be problems with every game. I mean, not problems, but like imbalanced with multiplayer games. But I mean, for a game having that minimal of balances, like AK versus P90 just being really kind of in, like, that's what, 4 things? Like, that's it. That's all. I mean, and those are like, they're tolerable. You know?
Yeah.
Because you know, if you see a guy with P90, you know what to expect. Just hope for the best, I guess.
Yeah, right. Hope he doesn't randomly add that. But it makes sense though too, because obviously a terrorist, you know, you would think of a terrorist owning an AK, and you would think of like the army or maybe like the cops owning like an M4. So it makes sense though in the game.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's totally unbalanced as far as the game goes. I mean, some people prefer the AK over the M4 anyway. So, you know, for me, I prefer the M4, but there are people out there that are like, I like the AK. It's just my preference. So it doesn't matter. And same thing goes with the SG and the AUG. So
great game, and you know, we'll end it there. It was just supposed to be a quick note. But yeah, no, good job to Valve for. Hope that they what they do is if they stop making Counterstrike, hope they decide to make a new game, keep it kind of to the same concept, because it's like you said, it's the classic gun versus gun. You don't have missiles coming out of the sky. You don't have all that garbage. It's classic.
RCs driving. Oh god, yeah.
Exactly. So good job to Valve. But let's move on to the quick next topic. We'll just touch on this very briefly. Halo Master Chief Edition. If anybody's watched E3, you probably heard about this, and it's big news because a lot of people didn't really like Halo Reach, Halo 4, and it kind of tainted their view of Halo in general, because the series used to be great. Halo 1, 2, and 3 were amazing games. And I myself liked Halo 1 was my most favorite because me and my friends, we used to LAN it all the time. So,
Yeah.
hats off to them. But if anybody doesn't know what the game is they're releasing Halo 1, 2, 3 all on one disc, all on Xbox One. 4,000 achievement points. If you're one of those types of people that really like achievements, you get a ton of fun to have there. Everything's original except they're just upgrading the graphics. Halo 1's going to be the same exact game, and I know the problem was when Reach came out with the Anniversary Edition, it was Reach with a pistol. That's all it was. It was just the same game. So it wasn't Halo 1. It was just Halo Reach with with the Halo 1 maps, the Halo Reach physics. It just wasn't the same. But turning it to you, I don't know if Halo you played. I was big into Halo. What your thoughts about it? Excited at it at all or anything?
When I was younger, one of the first birthday parties that I remember going to was a Halo LAN birthday party. We set up in 2 rooms, and we had sheets, and it was inside, somebody got stuck in this really crappy bedroom, and everybody was squished in there, and the other people had beanbag chairs, and it was everybody wanted to be in the other room, not in the squished room. And it was awesome. Probably one of the best birthday parties I've ever been to, and I was probably I don't know how old at the time, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there, however long ago it came out. I don't remember. I think it was 8th grade or something. But it was a lot of fun, and I think that would have been Halo or Halo 2 at the time. I think it was Halo, because I brought my brother's disc because they were we have the Xboxes, but we don't have the games. We need another game. And I brought my brother's, and I didn't bring it home. And he got so pissed. And they were we don't know where it is. And I was somebody totally jacked my Halo. So that went missing. But I played a lot of Halo 2. But the most fun I had, actually, in first-person shooters was playing Halo 3. I would almost play every single day after high school with 2 or 3 of my buddies. And we would just play all day. And it was just the most fun because it was just for some odd reason, there was just something super satisfying about getting kills in Halo. Versus in Call of Duty, I felt it was almost too easy. So in playing Halo was just really satisfying, and having that hammer or whatever it was, and just one shot, or the sword I think is what it was at the time. I don't know if they had the hammer. That was a bunch of fun, and just I don't know. We used to play capture the flag, and we'd jump on the little. I don't even remember all the names of the vehicles in the game, but it was basically a 4-wheeler, and we would just drive people around capturing flags. It was the most fun I've had in a first-person shooter, and it was just we would yell and just scream and go crazy for hours on that game. So. I never played Reach more than 20, 30 minutes. I tried it at a friend's house. Yeah, and he bought it, and he was I didn't like it. He thought it was going to be cool, kind of like Halo 3 and all that. I actually never played the real-time strategy game either, the Halo Wars. I don't think that's going to be part of the package, though.
No. It was a good game, but that's not. They're strictly sticking with Halo 1, 2, 3, 4 because those actually are all part of the same story. Reach, I can't remember if Reach actually took a step in between 3 and 4. ODST was after 3, and that was an expansion sort of.
Yeah.
But like, so that really had nothing to do with it. I'm sure they'll like, because you get all the maps. I think there's 100 maps between
Wow.
Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4, and obviously they'll be with their own respective game. And actually, I came up with a cool idea, but I doubt they would do it. Like, it's a long shot, and I'm sure it would take a long time. But imagine if they like had every map out of those 100 maps playable between any of the games. So it's like you had
Crazy.
Hang On from Halo 1, you could play it on Halo 4, but it's like the same. You know what I'm saying? It'd be pretty cool, but I mean, I doubt they would do it. But yeah, I think Halo Reach kind of like stepped in between Halo 3 and 4, and it was just like a side story. So they're only doing Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, and like kind of going back to what I got on this rant was Halo Wars. It was a good game. Just it didn't really. I don't even remember the storyline, to be honest. But yeah, but yeah. I mean, Halo was to me was.
And they're all going to be online, even Halo 1?
Yeah, that's the exciting part because
Wow.
me and I mean, I can't tell you the amount of. I mean, I played Halo 3 and 2 and 3 a lot. Just a lot more than Halo 1 because it was online. But Halo 1, I had the best experience with because the amount of times like I'd go to my friend Joe's house and we'd have. We kind of went from 4v4s down to like 2v2s. We would play like on big tube TVs all in the same room, like two TVs in the opposite sides of the room, and our backs to each other. We slowly progressed into like two TVs, like 2v2, four TVs total, like two people on each team having their own single like 22-inch tube, like in all the way in like separate rooms. We kind of like started our own. It was really cool. We started our own like little LAN thing. We had tournaments, everything. It was so fun. And like just Halo 1, the amount of time I played that game, we'd get there like 5 in the afternoon. We'd play till like 4 in the morning. Like just like the same 4-map rotation. It was so fun. Like and even if it was the same 4 people playing all night, it was just countless fun. And yeah, and like you just said, having it online, because the only way to play Halo 1 online before was either getting it on the PC, which was really, really bad on the PC.
Oh my god.
And playing Xbox Connect, which was really hard because laggy and it ran through your PC somehow. Like you had I don't even know how we did it. Joey's was the one that set it up. I don't know how it worked, but somehow it did. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a fun game. It's gonna be fun. I'll probably only play Halo 1 and 2 out of all 4. Like I've played 4. I don't really care. 3 I'll probably play a little bit, but the main reason I'm getting is Halo 1 and 2. That's no doubt about it.
No.
But we'll have to get it because we both have Xbox Ones and all we have on it is Titanfall right now.
Yeah. No, I think I still have Need for Speed.
I saw mine.
Yeah. Oh well.
But
regardless.
yeah, so that and Killer Instinct and whatever the 2 free games are. Hey, oh yeah, maybe we should play some Halo Spartan Assault. That game is awful.
There we go. I didn't play that one either.
So let's, any final thoughts on that really quick? On the Halo Master Chief Edition.
No, just basically I'm looking forward to it. And I haven't played Halo in so long, and I wonder if it's just gonna like hook me in like it did originally with Halo 3. And I don't know. We'll see. I didn't know that they were putting. I heard you at the beginning, but I didn't know if you were actually saying that 1 and 2 were both going to be like fully online as well. So that's super cool though. So we'll see how that pans out.
It's and I'm kind of like thinking ahead. It's so hard to get hooked on a game, and I'm surprised I've been playing Counterstrike for like 2 months straight. It's so hard to get hooked on a game like it was a couple of years ago because so many good things are coming out each year. It's like you can't concentrate. Like Dark Souls 2, I haven't played it since it came out because there's so many good things out, and it's just like it's cool for the gaming industry, but it's like that like so many good things are coming out and so many companies are successful. But it's just like as a gamer, it's like, oh, what do I play?
Too much of a good thing can be a bad thing, man.
Yeah, like it's so hard to like, and then you neglect stuff. I have Battlefield 4 and I have all the like I have the I haven't played it in a while, but I feel like guilty that I'm not playing it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
There's way too much to play, but
I mean, I don't know. I guess you get sick of some things, actually, and you kind of like take a break. we took that Diablo 2. I'm sorry, Diablo 3. We played it for what, a month straight because we kind of got everything else, and so we took a break from everything. So,
Dude, I've been playing a Game Boy Advance game. I actually have it here. It's called Advance Wars. I've beaten this one and I've beaten the second one, both on Game Boy Advance, dude. Like, that's how old we're talking. And now I started playing the one that's on Game Boy or Nintendo DS. Like, that's old, man. Game Boy Advance, are you kidding me? Like, but the game's phenomenal. I love it. It's so basic and it's like super challenging. It's like sometimes just having all this stuff, it's like I just want to play an old game that I know is good. And it's like,
why aren't you playing Killer Instinct on it on your Game Boy?
well, I have Killer Instinct right here, but see, this is for the original Game Boy, not even Game Boy Color. And the problem is,
the computer's so good.
Well, you just click one button. Well, first of all, yeah, I played on the easiest difficulty, and the computer beat the shit out of me, so that was really embarrassing.
Is Jago even in that game?
Yeah, it's like Jago, Fulgor, Glacius, Thunder, Orchid.
Shadow or the Wind.
No, you can't really do like any. There's like because there's like 4 basic moves, man. It's like you basically like punch and kick, and then you can do like down punch, down kick, and like maybe that's it. I think. Like I mean, there's really not much to do. So it's like you just start spamming either B or A, and just hope that you get like enough hits in, and each hit hits them for like probably an eighth of their health. So if you auto them like 5 or 6 times, they're pretty much almost dead, and it's just. It wasn't very fun, but I have it, and it's there.
It's kind of a cool, like really quickly though. That's cool to see how far fighting games have come in years. You know, you look back at like some of the original Mortal Kombat. Like, in order to get close to the character, you would like walk all the way over across the stage just to get to the guy, and then at that point the guy could just jump away. And I think really what was really cool was I never played Killer Instinct. Did Jago have a wind kick in that?
On Super Nintendo?
Could he fly across the screen?
I didn't play it on Super Nintendo. My brother did. I think that's the one that had like Raptor or whatever in it, and like I don't remember the fire guy's name, or Cinder.
But I mean, in the N64 version, that was one of the first fighting games that I noticed that you like. There was gap closers like that, you know? You can wind kick, Glacius had a little like liquid thing, Orchid had the slide.
No, actually, there is in this Killer Instinct one for Game Boy. I do know Glacius goes like under and he can like go to you. It's really poorly done, but he does, so.
But I mean, it's cool though to see like how far they've come in that. Obviously, now, I haven't really dabbled with the Street Fighter games. But like, a lot of the fighting games, they just. And obviously, systems are gonna be better as time goes. So it's like it's
of course,
good to see that. Let's move on, okay? I just tossed my paper. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
You brought up a good point. Scratch my head with 2 hands. You brought up a good point about teams in League of Legends. You primarily talked about League of Legends bringing in players from different countries. So like an American team saying, we're going to take a Chinese player or a Japanese player or whatever other nationality player. We're going to bring them on our team to coach or play or whatever. Now, I don't really see a rule against that unless you know that if there is, but
there's not.
What is exactly, like, do you agree with this? Do you think it's fair or unfair? I know you kind of brought up a good point, but I mean, like, overall, do you agree with it? Or do you disagree with it?
I don't agree with it as a whole, but I 100% understand why they're doing it. Mm-hmm. And that's my biggest concern. And because, for example, right now, my biggest problem is LMQ, which is a team that is a Chinese team that came to North America. I understand they did everything correct. They had to work their way through the Challenger Series, so they had to get placed, and then they had to work their way up, go into the series. Like, they did everything to get there, which is it's a long haul. It's a lot of work. but that doesn't necessarily make it right just because they did what they needed to do. I feel a North American team needs to have Americans in it. And like I said, I'm not saying the nationality. I don't, because as I was stating earlier before this, is there's Chinese American, there's, there's nationalities with American, and that's just basically, you are who you are. I'm Polish and Italian, so granted, if people look at me, they're like, okay, he's American, but at the same time, it's like I still am. I'm 75% Italian, I'm 25% Polish, so like I still have that in me, but I'm still American. Like, this is where I was born, this is where I was raised, whatever. These people and these teams are coming from overseas and just getting in, and they haven't lived here. They haven't really experienced like being an American, in my opinion. Like, yeah, okay, they're like, oh, it's really cool here, I really enjoy it, blah, blah. It's like, well, thank you very much, but you're not really an American. And it's not like I'm like saying like, oh, they can't be here. I just don't think that they should be allowed in this quick. It just doesn't feel right to me to like, oh, well, they came over and within a few months they're already playing, professionally in the league. And that's LMQ because they're fully Chinese. And I know that CLG has gotten Seraph over, and Helios has gone over to EG and whatever. And I know TSM's brought on their coach, which is Loco Doco. And I understand. But and like I said, I know that they're bringing good things to the table, and like, but they're also bringing Europeans. Like TSM has amazing for their jungler. Evil Geniuses was originally in the European LCS, and then they came over to North American LCS. So it's like, even those changes, it's like, well, can I be mad at LMQ for coming in, even knowing they're Chinese? But Evil Geniuses came from Europe, so can I be mad at them? And it's like, I'm not as mad at Evil Geniuses, I guess, but I guess that's because they speak English, and you would almost not be able to tell fully if they were like, oh yeah, I've lived here all my life, I just have an accent. Like, that's just how it is. But I don't know. It's such like a weird subject to discuss because I can't justify everything, because I'm okay with some things, but I'm not okay with others. So that makes me a huge hypocrite. But if I were, it doesn't make sense to me if, like I was saying earlier, if LMQ goes to Worlds, okay, let's just put it hypothetically, LMQ makes it all the way through, they go to Worlds with like Cloud9, whatever, and LMQ in the finals, so the final team is like LMQ, and let's go with SKT, who won it last year. So now you have SKT versus LMQ. It's like, both of these teams are foreign teams. SKT, I think, is Korean. They might be Chinese. I don't quite remember, but I know for a fact that LMQ is Chinese. So like, yeah, they're representing North America because they came out of the NALCS, but like, I don't think people would recognize that North America made it to like the finals. You know what I mean? I think they'd be like, okay, well, the Chinese team from North America came. Like, I feel like they would be like, yeah, it was LMQ. They're still like the Chinese team that made it out and did what they did. I'm not saying they're going to make it. I'm not saying they're going to win it. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying if they made it that far, I think it would be 100% disregarded that they came from North America by like most standards. I feel like North America would be like, cool, we won it, blah, blah, blah. But overall, it was still like the Chinese. I feel like they're, I don't know. It's
like in that case, maybe they shouldn't recognize the teams, countries, saying like don't have it as like North America, kind of have it just as. I mean, like I know that they obviously have their team names, but like I don't know, and I don't really keep up with the. But I mean, I assume that's what you're saying is that they, like if a team wins. And they say they're representing America? Is that how they do it? Like they choose what their country of origin is from?
No, well, for North America, like there's the NALCS, which is the North American like League Championship Series or whatever, and then there's the EULCS, which are the two like LCS divisions, and then like over in like Korea and whatever, there's like OGN and like the Korean, or I don't know if Korean Star League, I think it's StarCraft, but there's like, they have like OGN is kind of like the big one over there, and they kind of separate by like Koreans, like SKT and like, oh my gosh, I don't know. There's like the Najin teams. There's like the KT Rolster teams. Those are all teams that are like foreign teams over in like China, Japan, Korea, whatever. Like those are all like overseas. And when they go to Worlds, they'll represent like we're from, like if it says whatever it would be, let's go with SKT once again. I don't remember if they're from like Korea or China, Japan, whatever. Regardless, it'll have, they'll represent whatever country that they're representing. So if LMQ went, it would still represent under like North America because they came from the North American LCS. Like that's where they would have branched from.
They don't have an LCS, correct? There's just EU and NA, right?
Exactly. So, those are the two LCSs. But there's the whole division of League of Legends does branch out to those. But
so League of Legends.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
The League of Legends. So the OGN is still part of this whole series. It's just not the LCS. So but it's different because they have a lot of like different kind of like countries in there. It's very weird over there. It's a lot different actually. Like yes, they're still playing tournaments. They're still doing whatever we do here. But it's just to see if and like I said, this is like totally throwing it out there that LMQ wins and like goes all the way as far as I'm saying, but it's like because they're a Chinese team and they're coming from North America, it's like I feel like they're going to represent Chinese more than they're going to represent North America, if that makes sense.
So something had, but no,
Legends?
No, I mean what I was kind of I kind of got a thought from Dota. And because you were asking me earlier about like if they did it or not, and they kind of do for like the international. Oh, yeah, okay, so I got it now. For the international, I'm pretty sure I'd have to go back into Dota and check my competitor. There's qualifiers. I'm pretty sure there's like a EU qualifier. There's like regional qualifiers.
Exactly.
So either like League has to add more LCS. They need to add like regions for their LCS. Or they just have to eliminate those people, which so I kind of see where they're coming from. Like if there's no like China or like or like EU, or I'm sorry, not EU. If there's like no region that they can compete in for like the LCS, then they're kind of forced to come over and compete in EU or NA.
But they're not forced to come here because they can join like the OGN league. They can go and fight the other teams over there. Like SKT. That was the team that won Worlds last year, and they came from, I believe, OGN. OGN is basically, like I said, it's not LCS because it's not the League Championship Series, but it's their own style. So, like, I think Riot's somewhat in charge of it, but it's kind of just like, here, use our name, use, like, our game kind of thing, and it's like, do what you need to do to separate it, because, like, and I know that over there they do it differently, like, in some matches, and there's like this big troll thing on the internet. It was like, oh, two Shens, and you've probably never heard this, but in a tiebreaker match, if they go to like a tiebreaker match for like a best of 5 or something, and if they both win 2 or something like that, in the last one, it's like blind pick, so you can have doubles of champions because it's not like tournament draft. Whereas here, in North America and Europe, they would never do that. It would be like, okay, well, it's still it's like, okay, if it's a best of it's like blind pick, so both teams can choose any champion. So technically, it could be a full 5v5 match.
Can you hear me? Hold on a
Yes.
second. I'm gonna have to edit this out. The internet's gotta go into gay mode. Alright, so
Oh no.
repeat that whole sentence.
Are you up and good to go?
Not dropping.
Okay. Well, all right. Anyways, like I was saying, the OGN leagues and the leagues that come from overseas, like, and not just Europe, like I'm talking like the Chinas, the Japans, and Koreas and everything, they have their own leagues that they compete in. And then the winner, like, so they'll send teams over. I think they send 3 teams or whatever it may be. And like there's the Taipei Assassins who won it in season 2. So like LMQ could realistically be in like the OGN league or whatever leagues over in like Korea or China or whatever it may be. It's not the LCS because it's not labeled as LCS, but they could still compete over in like the OGN or whatever it may be and try to work their way into Worlds. And I think what they did is because they know that the talent is so much higher over there than it is over here, that they had a better chance getting to Worlds by competing in the North American LCS, or the European, rather, whichever, they decided in North America was, the choice. I think, I think that's where, they made their decision. And that's why it's just confusing to me. It's like, well, why let them in when I think their only reason that they want to be in is just because they don't want to go and go up against these people like SKT, who just everybody knows is like this brutal team. All the KT teams and then the Najin teams are super good teams. Like the OGN in general is just full of really good talent, and I mean that's just where it is. It's like if you want to play better teams, you should go there. In my opinion, I don't think North America and Europe. I just don't think we have the talent like they do, and I think they're just more strict. I don't think it comes down to raw talent. I think they have better schedules. I think they have better coaching. I think if they take it more seriously, I think that's why they're winning. But in general, I don't believe that we should be taking in teams like LMQ and Evil Geniuses. They're still part of the LCS, so I think it's kind of okay to take like NA and EU and kind of flop back and forth if you want, maybe. Take players here and there, because that's happened. Some North American teams have taken players from the European LCS, and now they're playing on North American teams. But like I said, we're also pulling players from Korea now to come play here, and it's like I don't totally agree with that. I don't know. I think we should be showing our talent, like, hey, we're from North America. Here's our North American players. Or the LCS rather, as a whole, and that's okay then to go with the North America and Europe, but
needs to be like the Olympics.
Yeah, I guess, right? It's like you have to play for your country.
Well,
I don't know, but I know for Dota, what's that guy's name? He played for some European team, but he was from North America. It was in the show. Fear. Yeah. I think now he runs like the North American team, but I mean he played overseas.
I think they were Canadian. I don't know. They might have been like English or something like that, but it was like United or Kingdom or United or something like that. But yeah, I mean I don't know. It's obviously a big issue there. It's gonna be like a big issue just trying to regulate. They don't know how they.
We'll wait and see, I guess, when Worlds comes around. I'm just not agreeing with it because I feel LMQ is going to represent China more than they would represent North America, and that's my opinion. Maybe it won't happen. I just feel like and now all these teams are starting to pull players from Korea and crap. It's like at what point are we all of a sudden just going to pull a whole team? Like when's TSM going to become a fully Korean team? Or all these people are pulling players from them. So what makes you? It's not gonna,
Yeah. So
fully...
let's shift gears, okay, to a little bit more of a serious topic. We're gonna end this in a couple minutes here. We're just gonna briefly touch on this. You were talking about people with disabilities and how. I mean, how did you come about this topic? What did you really want to talk about? Just how elaborate what your thoughts were.
Okay, well, I was explaining to you earlier. I work with a mechanic that he has some sort of he doesn't have a disability, but he's challenged of some sort. You could tell he's just a little bit slower. And but he's a mechanic, so he still works on cars, and he's fully functional. He takes on the same jobs that every other mechanic would. So he does things that he can do, but it's like he won't experience life like I will or like you will. And granted, I'll never experience life like you do. I mean, the things you're going to do are different. but I could technically do the same things that you do. If you want to go, bungee jumping, I can go bungee jumping. If you want to go, do whatever you want to do. If you want to go do anything, I could do the same things realistically. We're not going to live the same life, but some people can't do that. And then, I had sent you the video of the little like 4-year-old kid that's blind and like he's walking down a curb for the first time. It's like, for us, what do? We see a curb and we just walk down it. You know what I mean? It's like so many times it's like we take every little thing for granted. And I'm not saying that I'm going to stop because it's very hard. It's a being like that. It's, we just do. It's like, we get like lag in a video game and that's like the worst thing in the world. It's like, oh my God, this lag is like unreal. But think about the kids that are like blind out there that don't even get to play video games because they can't see. They can't do that. They don't have the ability to even do the basic things that we can do, which is just like walk normally, just see life, see, the sun, see, grass, see our dogs, see our parents. Like, think about it, these kids will never see their parents. You know what I mean? Like, they will never see the people that brought them into this world. They will never see their family. They can hear them, and some people can't, but, like, I'm just speaking on that kid's part. But it's like, this single individual will never see his parents. Like, imagine living like that, dude. I'm 22 years old. If I hadn't seen my parents for 22 years, like, maybe he gets used to it, fine, but that's not, like, a cool way to live. And it's like, to just think of people like that, it's like, video games was kind of the branch stem out of this. It's like, I would never be able to play video games if, what if I didn't, what if I was blind? What if I couldn't hear? I mean, hearing, sure, I probably could, but it's like, we take so many things for granted, and it's just like, you look at videos like that and just different situations, and it's like, wow, like, this kid has to deal with this, and here I am, like, bitching about the fact that I have 100 ping or my frames dropped. It's like, this kid's not complaining about that because he can't complain about that. He won't be able to experience that. And it's like, and like I said, am I going to be able to change? No, not immediately. I'd like to, eventually become, more positive in that situation and just, take the fact in. But it's like, Americans in general, I think, are just very, I mean, the whole world is, but I know Americans overall are definitely a lot worse than the rest of the world when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, there's a, you know who Louis C.K. is?
Yeah.
He does a bit in one of his comedy stand-ups where he's talking about how he's on a plane, and he's kind of talking about the same thing, about like how everybody takes everything. I'm on a plane, and the stewardess comes on the speaker and says, hey guys, we have free Wi-Fi on the plane while you're flying. He's like, like, free Wi-Fi. We've come to the point where we got free Wi-Fi while you're flying. Like, you remember, you had to turn electronics off at one point of the entire flight. And then, like, he kind of goes into saying, like, how the internet goes down while they're on the flight, and the guy next to him goes, whoa, can you believe this? And he's like, why you act like the airline owes you something for something you just found out existed 20 minutes ago? You know what I'm saying? So it's like... Yeah. And then he goes on to say, he's like, you're flying in an airplane. You're sitting in the air. It's just funny. But it's true, though, because, like, everybody takes, we take as people who have no disability, and, like, we're not trying to bash anybody. But, like, me and you, we're not blind, we're not deaf, nothing's physically wrong with us. So, and everybody that's like that. People do take a lot of stuff for granted, Cell phone. Well, yeah, cell phones. It's like, remember back in, I mean, I don't really. When we were younger, it's like you wanted to call your friend, you had to wait till you got home. Now you can just text, like, or you wanted to, and even back 50 years ago when our parents and stuff were our age, you wanted to call. There was one phone in the house. Now, when we were growing up, it was like, there was portable phones. They were just coming out, or they weren't just coming out. They were kind of just getting into households, sort of, and you had multiple ones. But, I mean, it's totally true. Is a lot of you take a lot of stuff for granted, but and that's kind of what we want to do. I know we're not going to be able to really like provide a huge amount. But we, in October, if anybody does, the links will be in the YouTube video. I will put them in the information section of the YouTube video, and as well as the I will post them along with the podcast. But we're going to be doing Extra Life. Dylan, do you think you'll be able to do it by then? Well, you gotta. If we could figure out if you could stream, we're gonna be doing this. I will be streaming, of course. October, we're doing Extra Life. Extra Life is an organization, a charity organization. Once a year, they do a 24-hour stream, and all the proceeds, anything that's donated to whatever channel it is, because you set up an account, and so whatever money I make from like whatever donations I get on my page on Extra Life goes directly to whatever hospital I chose, and and same thing for everybody else. So we will be doing that in October for, I think, Chicago's Children's Hospital. It's all Children's Hospital. But as also for anybody, and we encourage everybody to email for us for questions. We want to put together some sort of tournament, whether it be League of Legends, whether it be Dota 2, Counterstrike, anything you really competitively could play. We want to put together a tournament that we can somehow figure out how to, and I'm hoping that the players will want to put some money towards it, figure out a way for them to get a prize of some sort, but also we're going to use that money to donate to, we'll decide on a charity. This is what I'm talking about. We will decide on a charity. We'll kind of get in touch with the charity, or I don't know how we'll figure out how that works, really. I don't even know. But, so that's what we want to do. We want to kind of start giving back to the world. To
the gamers.
I make it a better place. So anyways,
that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm saying.
So I know we kind of just touched on that briefly, but I mean we're approaching an hour long here, and I kind of wanted to, I just want to end it on a good note, positive note. We just want to do our part and help out in any way that we can. Follow us to Facebook. I'm right down.
Quiet.
I'm down here on Twitter. You point up, I point down. Your Twitter. That's his Twitter. Follow us, tweet us, Gmail us. Email is gamersaffect@gmail.com. And yeah, I know we are just up and coming, but everybody, let's get it going. Let's be the next IGN. It's who we are. No, but on a serious note, yeah, Gamersaffect. This is John and Dillon, the cause and effect. We are gonna go play some Smite now and run the gauntlet. So,
yeah. What's going on tonight?
Throw us some emails, throw us some tweets, throw us some Facebook likes, YouTube comments, whatever you want. We will see you all next week. Peace.
Adios, muchacho.
Peace.
I am calibrated.
All right.